Unahan na po namin at ma'am, no, unang-una po sumagot na po ang kampo ng Vice President. Nabasa na po ba ninyo at kumusta po yung sagot ng Vice Presidente?
Well, apparently for me, it doesn't seem like an answer, no? While I was reading the answer, it looks like a motion to dismiss, no? At maliwanag sa ating rules of impeachment ng House of Representatives that motion to dismiss is a prohibited pleading dito sa impeachment proceeding, no? At least if I base it on the allegations contained in the answer, hindi siya responsive dun sa grounds, dun sa offenses alleged in the impeachment complaint. In effect, parang hindi sumagot. And instead, they are questioning the proceeding before the Justice Committee in support of their intention to dismiss the impeachment complaint, no? At least, from my perspective as a lawyer, that's how I see the answer of the Vice President.
Opo. Kung ang binabanggit po kasi ng kampo ng Vice President, kasi from the beginning naman daw po, hindi rin naman daw po malinaw yung mga detalyadong akusasyon.
Hindi natumbok.
Oo, wala din naman natumbok. Kaya paano sila sasagot ng punto por punto kung hindi naman daw malinaw yung mga ibinabato laban sa Vice President?
Of course, we beg to disagree to that, no? Na saksihan ng sambayan ng Pilipino ang ating naging deliberasyon. Una ay sa sufficiency in form, pangalawa ay sa sufficiency in substance, and apparently, maliwanag yung grounds na inilatag ng ating mga complainants doon. That is why we are giving opportunity to the Vice President, our respondent, to respond dun sa mga offenses at sa mga grounds na incorporate dun sa dalawang complaints, no? Ngayon, considering that the answer is not responsive to the complaint, it appears like unrebutted yung mga allegations ng complainant. Kumbaga, since hindi sinagot directly, it is as if tinanggap yung allegations na ito and we will be perceiving this as general denial ng mga allegations doon sa complaint, no? We respect the opinion of the camp of the Vice President, but of course, we've been very cautious in the compliance to our rules, and the members voted, and we have to understand that in matters of sufficiency of form and substance, ang sabi sa ruling ng Merceditas Gutierrez, this is based on the exclusive judgment of the individual members, no? Nakita natin yung boto. 54 versus 1. So it only means that the members of the Justice Committee are all satisfied that these two complaints, the third and the fourth, both complied, not only in form, but even in substance. Actually, sayang. Sayang yung opportunity na sana na-address lahat ng mga alleged offenses and grounds sapagkat ito yung matagal nang hinihintay ng ating mga kapwa Pilipino, ang kasagutan sa mga allegations laban sa ating Vice Presidente.
All right. Any
Madam
other?
Chair, just a quick
The Honorable
manifestation.
Nasal.
I believe that the fifth grounds for impeachment against VP Sara Duterte should not be included due to lack of merit. Due to, number one, insufficiency in evidence, allegations regarding bank transactions are speculative and fail to prove any illegal accumulation of wealth. And again, I agree with Vice Chair Keith Flores and my seatmate, Congressman Rufus Rodriguez, that the timing of offenses, impeachable acts must occur during the current incumbency. These claims involve actions from 2007 to 2017. And on lack of relevance, there is no direct link between past actions and her current conduct or fitness for office. And also, on unsubstantiated claims, the burden of proof has not been met as the allegations ignore legitimate income and constitutional disclosure rules. Also, supporting records from previous hearings lack the necessary credibility and relevance to the current charges. So in conclusion, I believe that the fifth ground fails to meet the constitutional and legal standards required for impeachment and should be dismissed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Zamora.
Madam Chair, if we're talking about legal standards, I think that we can allege acts that were committed prior to the incumbency of the official, so long as we are able to show that they are relevant to the charge that she also accumulated ill-gotten wealth after she was elected as Vice President based on Rule 128 of the Rules of Court, which we may apply here, and also to prove, as stated by the Honorable Laila de Lima, that there is a system, scheme, or pattern, habit, custom, or usage, and the like, based on Rule 128 of the Rules of Court. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other member who wish to make a manifestation on the fifth ground? Would you like to wind up, Honorable de Lima, on the fifth ground?
Everything was said already. My insistence that it's not going to be a violation of any principle in terms of alleging causes of action, because again, it's just a continuation. It's a show. It's a manifestation of the pattern of the official being impeached or being charged for impeachable offense. And this committee has broader discretion and authority to look into any related matter to the very offense that the respondent is being charged of. We have such broad authority to further inquire beyond those alleged acts committed during her incumbency during previous positions that are related again to the very issue of accountability and fitness to hold or continue holding public office. Thank you.
Again, for the guidance of the justice members, in addition to the theory of accumulation and the intention of the complainant to establish the pattern, we would like to invite the attention of the members that the fifth ground was drafted to show two specific acts. One is amassing unexplained wealth, and the other is the failure to disclose in SALN. So that is for the guidance of the justice members only. We are concluding our deliberation on the fifth ground of the third impeachment complaint. Now we proceed to the last, the sixth ground of the third impeachment complaint. Please allow the chair to read. Vice President Duterte committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayed the public trust in committing acts of political destabilization and the high crimes of sedition and insurrection. Now let's hear the manifestation of the endorser. Honorable de Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the sixth and the last ground, acts aimed at destabilizing the government and inciting sedition and insurrection. Ang mga allegation po sa complaint, on the face of the complaint, noong January 28, 2024 at March 12, 2024, dumalo si VP Sara sa mga rally sa Davao kung saan kini-question ang legitimacy ng Pangulo at hinikayat umano ang militar na kumilos laban sa kanya. Paragraphs 110 to 111. Noong July 17, 2024, tinawag niya ang sarili na designated survivor para sa SONA. That's on paragraph 112. At noong August at October 2024 naman, hayagan niyang inatake ang Pangulo at sinabing nais umano niyang pugutan ng ulo ang presidente. That's paragraphs 113 to 114. Now, assuming truth of those allegations, the pleaded acts are framed as destabilization, incitement, and high crimes, falling within culpable violation and betrayal of public trust. Culpable violation of the Constitution. Kung ipagpapalagay na totoo ang mga alegasyon ng isang mataas na opisyal ng pamahalaan na nag-uudyok ng rebelyon, kini-question ang pagkalehitimo ng nakaupong Pangulo sa paraang maaaring magdulot ng destabilisasyon at gumagamit ng retorikang nagpapahiwatig ng labag sa konstitusyon na pagpapatalsik sa pwesto hindi dapat pinalalampas. This invites extra-constitutional disruption. Kung isang opisyal na nanumpang ipagtanggol ang konstitusyon ay kumilos sa paraang nag-uudyok ng kawalang katatagan o nagpapahina sa civilian authority over the military, ito ay tahasang pagyurak sa kaayusang konstitusyonal. On betrayal of public trust, kung tutuon ang respondent ay lumahok sa mga gawaing nanghihikayat na magsagawa ng rebelyon ng militar o hayagang naghahasik ng pagdududa sa lehitimong kapangyarihang konstitusyonal para magdulot ng destabilisasyon, ang ganitong gawain ay nagpapahina sa katatagan ng ating mga institusyon. Ang Vice Presidente o sino mang mataas na opisyal ay hindi karaniwang opisyal. Ang kanyang mga salita at kilos ay may bigat at impluensya. Kung ipagpapalagay na totoo ang aligasyon na nanghihikayat pa siya ng destabilisasyon o kaguluhan, hindi na siya dapat pagkatiwalaan pa ng bayan. So that's the meat of the allegations in the complaint in relation to the ground 6. Thank
Any
you,
member
Madam
who
Chair.
has comment on statements of the endorser?
Yes.
Congressman Rodriguez?
The allegation on paragraph on ground 6 is found in page 97, 98, and 99. Yes, of the complaint. In the grounds, it's stated here, 291, the Vice President desired destabilization. Again, she joined the hakbang na maisog prayer that encouraged the military rebellious action aimed at unseating President Marcos Jr. This is not complete because the statement of facts shows who are the persons who did this allegedly destabilization. So let's go to page 46. I'd like you to flash the statement of the Honorable De Lima, yung grounds, so that we can see that may disparity sa sinabi niya doon at saka itong 106. Can you flash again the first bullet?
Comsec?
Yes. Okay. Here, the first one. So this, okay, very clear. On January 20th, VP Sara joined the hakbang na may isog prayer in Davao City, where former president, so here there is no former president in the grounds. Clearly, the one, proposing and encouraging the military to take rebellious action against President Marcos was former President Rodrigo Duterte, not Vice President Sara. So very clear. In their own allegations, page 110, former President Rodrigo Duterte encouraged the military to rebellious action. There is no allegation here that the Vice President took the microphone and said, let us therefore take rebellious action against the President. So therefore, there is no basis for this to hold the Vice President accountable. Next, on March 12, 2024, she again appeared at a rally where statements were made questioning the legitimacy of the President. Now, where is Sara Duterte here? There is no statement here. Because here I have the page 1111 paragraph on March 12, exactly, during the rally, malicious statements were made to impugn the legitimacy. Where is Sara Duterte here impugning the legitimacy of the president? None, because she did not speak there. You see. So the second allegation has no basis. Okay. Third, designated survivor. We're going to a movie here of a film. We're using here the film to be a part of impeachment, the designated survivor. So therefore, there's no basis. Designated survivor. It can just be stated, as a matter of, that movie of designated survivor. So nothing really there that will destabilize. It does not say, let us remove the president. Nothing. Okay, then let's go to the third one. Here. The Vice 113. Can we go to the next one after designated survivor? Go attacking and apologize. Let us go to what is stated here. On August 25, 2024, is that the one there? What is stated here is the Vice President started publicly attacking the President. There is no quotation that she attacked the President. And then, period. This is the allegation in the complaint. She said, according to 113, on August 25, 2024, the Vice President started publicly attacking the President. What was said to attack the President? Nothing here, because she did not say anything attacking the President. Here, the next sentence, she even apologized to members of the King of Jesus Christ, Kibolos Church, for campaigning and running with Vice President Marcos. Well, that is her opinion. Saying that, but she did not say, let us remove the President. Nothing of that sort. She just apologized that she campaigned and running with the President. Therefore, that particular allegation is not sufficient in substance. Now, we go to 114. Ito na. 114, she made pronouncements expressing a desire. Ano yun? 114. I will read to you. Then, on October 18, 2024, VP Sara made public pronouncements showing her desire to decapitate the President. Now, let's go, because it's stated here. Let's go to what is stated. Gusto kong tanggalin yung ulo niya ba? Gusto ko. Desire. A desire. Not a threat. Just a desire. Can we prosecute somebody with desire? Second, I imagine myself, imagination. Can imagination be a basis for impeachment? You see? And then she continued, hindi marunong maging presidente ang nakaupo. Well, that is her opinion. Are we going to also impeach her because of an opinion? Okay. And lastly, she said, kung presidente niyo siya, okay lang. Tingnan mo, okay lang daw. Ako, hanggang vice president lang ako. Hanggang number 2 lang itong bansa na ito. Ulat itong number 1 para sa akin. So she's not recognized. So, but is this therefore impeachable? Madam Chair, we believe that ground number 6 has no sufficiency in substance to say that she is destabilizing or the government or high crimes. In fact, our president is performing his duty. In fact, the military is not, is destabilizing the president. We are moving forward with President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos. And so therefore, we do not see any effect of this. And so, Madam Chair, we are therefore saying that number 6 ground should fall. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. Now we
Madam Chair.
recognize the Honorable Brian Poe.
Madam Chair, it brings me no joy to investigate a fellow public servant. However, I would be remiss in my duty as a Vice Chair not to study the facts of this impeachment complaint. With respect to a man I consider my mentor, very well argued. But for the sake of the body, I think it's very important for us to actually look at the context by which these events occurred. With the help of the COMSEC, I'd like to request that the articles that were cited in the annex be displayed for the committee so that we can go through the events one by one.
You are requesting for
I'm requesting for the articles that were cited in the annex of the
articles
impeachment
cited as annex of the impeachment complaint.
with reference to the January 28th date, the March 12th date, the July 17th, and the October 18th.
What are these articles all about?
So on the 28th, it is with regards to the rally at which the Vice President had attended. On March 12th, it is with regards to the remarks made by the Vice President against the President and his administration. On the July 17th, it is the article referring to the Vice President referring to herself as a designated survivor. And shortly after, on October 18, the article referring to when the Vice President had the desire to decapitate the President. These are the articles that would be flashed.
This is a
if ever.
total of 4 articles.
I believe, COMSEC, is it for, we have 4 articles?
4 articles? 3.
3 articles.
3 articles. Okay, so with the indulgence of 2 articles.
2 articles.
With the indulgence of the Justice members, we would like to show the articles per request of the Honorable Vice Chair Brian Poe.
So, Madam Chair, this is the article regarding the rally that took place. And then the second article, please. And this is the other article for the prayer rally. Now, with the indulgence of the committee, since what's being discussed here is are these dates, would it be possible for us to use the video clips that show the actual incidents themselves? Because if we're going to sit here and read the articles, it might be quite difficult. Anyway, this is for public consumption. We're not introducing new evidence here, and it's all on public record because these have been displayed on the news and in social media with the permission of the chair.
Madam Chair,
You are requesting for videos to
Requesting
be
for
played.
videos
Videos
relating
of the
to
same
these.
incident.
Yes. Yes, Madam
The
Chair.
Honorable Suntay, what's the
Yes.
pleasure of
Madam Chair, I
Honorable
would like to
Suntay?
reiterate, the videos has not been attached as part of the complaint. And if
Are you opposing?
if what Congressman Poe states is accurate, that it has been shown on Facebook, on social media, widely, then there is no need to play it. Mag-aalas 3 na rin po kasi.
Yes, we are
Nagtatanong
almost
pa
done
ako.
with the first impeachment complaint. If the Honorable Suntay is not opposing the video, I think it needs to be shared to the Justice members for them to be guided in judging whether or not the requirement of the sufficiency in substance is met. The Honorable Brian Poe?
Madam Chair, the videos are not being displayed to paint one side or the other, but merely to give context to what is being said here, because these events happened almost 2 years ago. So it's just for us to make an objective assessment on whether or not there's actually substance here.
So for the record, the video will be presented to guide the Justice members in our determination of sufficiency in substance with respect to the 6th ground of the 3rd impeachment complaint. Committee Secretariat is directed to play the video.
Madam Chair, I think for purposes of
The Honorable Rodriguez.
Yeah, thank you. Chronologically presenting it, I think we should get the video first of the January 28, 2024. Is that the request of Congressman Brian?
Honorable
Chair?
Poe.
Yes, if we could do it chronologically so that it also makes sense to the members of the committee, starting with January 28, 2024, then next would be March 12, 2024, and then after would be July 17, 2024, and then 18 October 2024. Again, with no predetermination as to whether or not there is sufficiency in substance, but just to give context to the arguments being made today.
All right. The COMSEC is directed to play the video chronologically, beginning with January 24, 2024 video and ending with October 18, 2024. This is a total of 4 videos. Kindly play.
Mga kaigsunan ko, padayon nato nga mahalon ang atuang nasod. Mga kababayan, patuloy nating mahalin ang ating bayan. Mabuhay kayo, mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
Mr. President, pinilit ninyo kami. Kayo yung sa Bisaya, kinikitoy mo yung Pilipino. You are testing the waters, not even. You are, pushing to the limits ang pasensya ng Pilipino. Huwag mong gawin yan. Huwag mong gawin yan, huwag mong ituluyan kay magkagulo. Pag hindi namin napilitan kayo sa mga rallies, sa aming mga boses, ang sentimento namin, ako'y sinasabi ko sa military, nag-hemorrhage ang bayan, gastos dito ng gastos doon. Tapos kung mag-speech, ang pinag-usapan ang putang inang pobreng Pilipino. Gastos dito, gastos doon. Mga military, maawa kayo sa bayan. Pag hindi namin kaya, gawin ninyo. Gawin ninyo, kawawa ang Pilipino.
Yes, Dante, good evening.
Good evening, Harleen. In today's prayer rally conducted by the Sunshine Media Network International, or SMNI, and supporters of religious group leader Apollo Kibuloy, some former and incumbent government officials have attended the program. Vice President Sara Duterte arrived first, though she did not speak or give a message before the crowd. Before 8 o'clock tonight, former President Rodrigo Duterte arrived here at Diwasang Bonifacio in Manila. With him are Senators Christopher Lawrence Bongo, Ronald De La Rosa, and Robin Hood Padilla. Former presidential spokesman Harry Roque and former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo also arrived earlier. Senator De La Rosa said they came over to show support to Kibuloy. Meanwhile, former President Duterte urged the public to be vigilant, especially that the Marcos administration is allegedly now trying to amend the Constitution. Duterte said the current regime's main objective is to extend their term through charter change. He also emphasized that if any provision of the Constitution will be touched, the whole Constitution itself is now open for amendment. And that's our latest live from Manila. Back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Dante. Amen.
Vice President Sara Duterte will not attend the third State of the Nation address of President Bongbong Marcos on July 22. In an ambush interview on Thursday, July 11, Duterte says she will skip this year's SONA. She also names herself the designated survivor.
No. Okay. No, I will not attend the SONA. I am appointing myself as the designated survivor.
A designated survivor is a U.S. government official chosen to stay at a secure location during events where top leaders are gathered. This ensures continuity of government in case a catastrophic event kills or incapacitates the president, vice president, and other top officials. There is no such position yet in the Philippines.
Well, nandun lang ako, nakakatayo ako doon kasi may gamot ako. Gusto ko tanggalin yung ulo niya ba? I realized toxic na yung relationship. And it did not help na itong dalawang katabi ko, tumawa pa. Pinagtawanan pa nila yung bata. And I saw the humiliation sa face ng bata. I wanted to help him. Gusto ko sabihin sa kanya, itong relo ko na lang, relo ito ng Vice President, ito relo ng Presidente, pero I hope this will do. And then I realized na baka mas lalong mapahiya yung bata if I do that. So I just imagined myself cutting his head. Tapos gusto ko, ganun din ang gusto ko gawin doon sa mga katabi ko. So na-realize ko, toxic na ito. One of the graduation, hanapin niyo yung footage, makikita niyo doon yung mukha ko. Tsaka mukha niya. I-lip read niyo yung sinasabi niya. Why?
Honorable po?
Madam Chair, so again, since we were able to play these videos, we better understand the context of what had happened, what was said, and it is up to the committee to decide whether or not this is sufficient in substance. We are not debating whether or not there are grounds for impeachment yet. It's more of whether or not there's substance in what was submitted. And what we have is that she did attend those rallies and that she did make these statements. And so with regards to sufficiency and substance, it does seem that these are all included in the impeachment complaint.
Madam Chair?
The Honorable Suntay first, and then the Honorable Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Well, as we could see, based on the videos, lalong-lalo na yung una, statement ni BP Sara doon, patuloy natin mahalin ang ating bayan, which is very telling ng kanyang disposition. Yung mga ibang videos, hindi ko na-explain because I will not be able to explain it anymore because I cannot explain it better than how my esteemed colleague Rufus Rodriguez explained it. Baka masira ko lang yung explanation niya kung tutulungan ko dahil maganda na yung explanation niya. Well, then dadako na lang tayo sa culpable violation of the Constitution. In the context of the Philippine Constitution and the ongoing 2026 impeachment proceedings, culpable violation of the Constitution is a high legal bar. It is not just about breaking the law, it is about a specific guilty breach of the fundamental law of the land. Kung ang pagbabasihan natin, yung mga pinakitang video, I don't think we will see any fundamental breach. The key word here is culpable, which implies a degree of perversity or guilt to commit this offense. The official must have acted with a deliberate intent to disregard the Constitution, which I believe is non-existing. Kung dadako naman tayo sa sedition at sasabihin natin, hindi. Seditious yung mga ginawa, kahit na nakita naman natin na hindi. Ang mahalagang tanong sa batas ay hindi lang kung nagpunta sa rally, nanood, o may nasabi ang isang opisyal. Ang importante ay kung may aktual na ginawa o inutusan na illegal na gawain. Kung ang allegation ay nakabase lamang sa mga speech, sa rally at mga statements, political rhetoric, I don't think that it is seditious. Alam ng mga kaibigan natin sa Makabayan yan, madalas silang mag-attend ng rally. Pero kung salita lang at wala naman silang gagawing aktwal, then that is covered by their freedom of speech and is not seditious. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. At this point, we recognize the Honorable Rodriguez.
We thank the Honorable Brian Poe because it's clearer now, based on the footage, that the Vice President did not in any way call to arms our people to rise against the government. On the contrary, love our country. Because sedition, Madam Chair, as stated here under this particular ground that the Vice President committed sedition. Sedition is committed, Madam Chair, by inciting through speech. No, we never heard any speech there. Writing or action, revolt or insurrection against established government authority, nothing. So therefore, the first allegation that the Vice President destabilized the government has incited sedition is not, or insurrection, because in that rally, even the President former President Duterte was just saying, do not do all these things. Do not spend this or that on, don't do these things. And very clearly, VP Sara did not speak there. So that's the first one. So therefore, how can there be an action for sedition? Next, Sara took part in the prayer. Yes, she was seen there in the prayer with Quiboloy, but she did not issue malicious statements to malign the legitimacy of the president. Nothing in that particular section 11, section 111. Third, designated survivor. That is precisely in the American law and made into a movie. Ayun. So that is something that is not a basis for impeachment. And then itong fourth, ito, apologize to the members of the Quiboloy Church. Well, she can say that kasi may political riff na nga eh. That she therefore for campaigning and running with the president. That is her opinion after the falling out. And lastly, yung sinabi doon niya sa interview, well, this is, coming out from political noise and political passion na gusto kong tanggalin, desire, and then I imagine myself imagining. So all of these are all on desire and imaginations. Nothing actual, nothing that is clearly impeachable. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Rodriguez. The Honorable Flores.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I just would like the endorser to clarify based on the statements also made by Congressman Rufus na taken individually, totoo na parang wala ngang inciting to sedition or seditious statements that were made. Pero taken together as a whole, di ba? Parang meron din eh. May foul din, no? Why would you be present in all these actions calling for this and that? No, but that's if we take it all together or collectively or as a whole, no? I would like to hear the comment of the endorser.
Thank you, Madam
Honorable
Chair.
De Lima.
Yes, context is very important. So we cannot just deal with this based on the individual allegations, but the totality of it all. We cannot just downplay the presence of VP Sara dun sa mga rallies na yon na clearly ay naghihikayat tungkol sa yung continued existence of this government, of the president. Kasi nga, in those rallies, she never disowned, she never detached herself from those statements. Also, yung sa designated survivor, it's clearly galing po sa kanya yun. Hindi lang po ito interpretation ng media or interpretation of anyone else, but she herself says that she is a designated survivor. Anong ibig sabihin? Kapag dinedesignate mo ang sarili mo as a survivor, na parang ang wish niya ay may mangyayari, and ganun din sa decapitation. It's not a simple expression of a wish. It is also a threat. And it goes to the stability of government na meron siyang mga sinasabi, meron din siyang mga sinasaluhan na mga activities at mga rally na she was not detaching herself. Hindi niya dinidisown na yun ang mga sinasabi in those rallies. So you're correct, the Honorable Flores is correct, that this has to be taken in totality, the circumstances, those incidents, and the context is really very important in scrutinizing this particular ground. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Nasal first,
Short
and then
manifestation.
Padiernos, and then Suntay.
Madam Chair, allow me to put on record my observations on this sixth ground based on what we've seen, based on the videos. The cited allegations do not on their face constitute impeachable offenses under Article 11, Section 2 of the Constitution. First, the statements attributed to the Vice President. Wala naman ho siya halos sinabi except for the last video na pinakita na parang yun na nga, parang she was speaking kung ano yung iniisip niya, No? Sinasabi lang po niya yung iniisip niya. Even if harsh or provocative, fall within the realm of political speech. To amount to rebellion or incitement, there must be a clear and direct call to imminent unlawful action. The complaint does not establish such imminent intent or overt acts. Second, mere participation in rallies or association with certain individuals is not unlawful. Guilt by association is not a constitutional ground for impeachment. The complainants must show personal commission of impeachable acts. For these reasons, the allegations rely on rhetoric and political characterization rather than specific willful acts that clearly constitute culpable violation of the Constitution, high crimes, or betrayal of public trust. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The Honorable Padiernos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I just have a few questions for our endorser.
Yes,
Because
the endorser is willing to respond.
for our sixth ground, it is anchored on acts of political destabilization and high crimes of sedition and insurrection. So, sa batas po natin, these are, unang-una po, political destabilization. That's quite vague. Wala po yan sa batas natin. And it's not self-defining. As to sedition and insurrection, they fall under the revised penal code. And as mentioned a while ago, pag revised penal code crimes po, kailangan po may criminal intent. I would just like to get the position of our endorser about sa lahat po ng sinabi ng ating impeachable officer. Can she point out ano po yung that would show there is criminal intent? Because nakikita ko po yung kung saan po nagagaling si Kong Rufus Rodriguez. I see Honorable Rodriguez. We have to know first, yun muna po. Gusto ko muna po malaman from our endorser.
Boldelima.
Unang-una po, kagaya po ng sinabi ko kanina, nandun siya sa rally na yon na hinikayat ng dating Pangulo yung pag-withdraw ng military ng support sa administrasyong ito. Hindi niya yon tinanggi, hindi niya dinisown. Ang tawag po dyan is adoptive admission. Now, these statements are aimed at destabilization. When you call for a withdrawal of support, especially from the military, and she is the Vice President, hindi po pwedeng sasabihin na hindi ako mismo yung nagsabi noon. She was present there. She did not detach herself from it. She did not disown it. She did not do or say anything about it. She is the Vice President. Destabilization po ito. And then coupled with yung iba pang na mga actuations niya, yung pagde-designate bilang survivor, designated survivor. And then yung threaten, yung wish expression, a clear and blatant expression of a wish to decapitate the president. Doesn't those circumstances aimed at destabilizing the administration, and therefore it is an assault on the constitutional order? The intent is there when you threaten to decapitate, when you say that you are the designated survivor. And therefore, pwede nating itugma-tugma yung mga ganyang actuations at pananalita ng ni VP Sara, dun sa attempt or the fact of destabilization, attempting, inciting to sedition, yung ini-interrupt yung orderly workings of government, dun sa mga ganong irresponsible na pananalita, yung ganong active presence in rallies, in activities that show, that manifest those destabilization attempt. So yun po ang aking posisyon. Meron po siya na mga circumstances, acts, and language to say or to prove that she aims to destabilize this government.
Honorable Padiernos.
So, Madam Chair, it would appear that the endorsers mainly anchoring her the supposed statements sa ano po sa destabilization and not the sedition and insurrection. Kasi very strict po yan. Clear po yan sa ating revised penal code and under our jurisprudence yung mga elements po ng mga crime na yun. But nevertheless, I would just like to make
Madam Chair, just to
let us wait until
thank you.
Kong Padiernos is finished with his manifestation.
I would just like to make a manifestation, quick manifestation as to ground 6. So, in determining if the ground 6 should be, I mean, it constitutes an impeachable offense, the committee must test sedition and insurrection against statutory elements. The sufficiency inquiry is whether the complaint pleads specific acts beyond generalized political statements that satisfy those elements and are attributable to the respondent. So, I would just like to tell our committee members in deciding whether this ground should be constituting an impeachable offense. Na tingnan po natin kung talagang may elements that constitute that crime. So yun lang po, Madam Chair, and maraming salamat po.
The Honorable De Lima would like to respond to the manifestation of
Madam
Honorable
Chair,
Padiernos.
yes, just to point out the fact that it's not only destabilization, it's inciting to sedition. And she was present there. She did not do anything. She did not disown it. That is the principle of adoptive admission. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The Honorable Suntay.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Whether individually or collectively, looking at all the videos shown, there can be nothing seditious that can be attributed to the Vice President. In fact, there is nothing for her to denounce, no statements to denounce. Because we cannot attribute statements made by other people to the Vice President just because she was there. Then we have to do it with everyone who is there. Lahat na lang ng present. Sabihin natin, we should attribute that statement. So, mere presence in the rally does not make her actions seditious. That is very clear. Alam mo, yung tama naman yung sinabi ni Kong Rufus, yung statement as being the designated survivor, it's not illegal, it's not criminal. In fact, it's a process in the United States. Mere utterance na I'm designating myself. In fact, hindi nga pwede yun . Can you designate yourself without a process? Sinabi lang niya yun. Siguro magpapatawa lang siya. And lastly, alam mo minsan, nasa Shangri-La ako, nakita ko si Ann Curtis. Ang ganda-ganda pala niya. May desire sa loob ko na nag-init talaga. Na-imagine ko na lang kung anong pwedeng mangyari. Pero siyempre, hanggang imagination na lang yun. Pero, di naman siguro ako pwedeng kasuhan dahil kung ano-ano yung na-imagine ko . Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Zamora.
Madam Chair, I would like to have those statements stricken from the record.
Madam Chair,
There is
Happy
nothing
Women's Month,
sexual dun sa sinabi ko. Nothing immoral. It's just, I said, may na-imagine ako. I think there is nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, Madam
Madam
Chair,
Chair.
I want that deleted in the record.
Can the chair hear the proper motion towards
I
striking
make a motion,
out from the
Madam
record?
Chair.
Honorable Zamora.
Madam Chair, I move to strike those statements from the record.
Objection, Madam Chair.
There is a motion to strike out from the record the earlier manifestation of the Honorable Suntay about his imagination upon seeing Ann Curtis. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second,
Same
Madam
has been
Chair.
seconded. Is there any objection? The same has been objected to. Let us now divide the House. Those who are in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. You may put down your hands. Those who are not in favor, please raise your right hand. Those who abstain, please raise your right hand.
Just a short manifestation, Madam Chair. I just want to put on record that we cannot censure
The Honorable
anything which is
Suntay is
illegal,
enjoined
which is
from
not
further
illegal
making
or
manifestation
immoral.
until we resolve the motion. Order, please. With a vote of 13 in the affirmative and 2 in the negative, 2 in the negative, 0 abstain. Meron? I will say it again. With 13 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and 0 abstention, let the chair say it for the third time. With 13 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, and 2 abstention, the chair orders that the earlier manifestation of the Honorable Suntay be stricken out from the record. So ordered.
Madam Chair, manifestation.
Now you're allowed to make a manifestation.
I think we are starting a dangerous precedent because now we are censoring manifestations which is neither illegal or immoral. So imagine we are conducting a hearing, but now statements which are neither immoral or illegal can be stricken out of the record without any reason. I think that's a terrible
Madam
precedent
Madam
that
Chair.
we're starting.
The Honorable
Thank you.
Zamora.
With all due respect to my friend, Congressman Bong Suntay, it is just the start of the Women's Month. And I don't think that we should be hearing such comments from our dear colleagues. We are not censuring anything, but we are reminding them that, in fact, we should support women by not saying these statements. Next week, Madam Chair, for the record, I'll be attending the UN conference on the Commission, 70th Commission on the Status of Women. This is, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I just wanted to say this. And this is about removing structural barriers to women's empowerment. And things like this do not empower women. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The chair
Yes.
would like to state that if the manifestation of the justice member offends the sensitivity of the justice members, then it means that we are crossing the boundaries already.
Madam Chair.
After all, we rule here by the judgment of the justice members. So I hope we respect the decision of the majority of the Justice Committee.
Madam Chair, just for clarity, there are two words which was uttered. I want to know, which was offensive? The word desire or the word imagination?
Madam Chair, point of order, Madam.
The Honorable Suntay is reminded that
Point of order, Madam Chair. Point of
as
order.
to whether or not the manifestation is indeed
No, because
suggestive
I just
of
want to know what is
immorality.
being...
Order, please. The chair
point of order.
is
I'm
addressing the committee.
I'm raising a point of order, Madam Chair, on the basis that...
Please let the chair finish with her statement. As to whether or not the manifestation of the Honorable Suntay is offensive of our morality is a judgment that belongs exclusively to the justice members. I think the majority have spoken already.
Madam
The
Chair,
Honorable Adjong is
Thank you, Madam
recognized.
Chair. I'm raising a point of order on the basis that the issue has already been acted upon by the committee. The committee decided to delete and strict the portion of the statement of Congressman Swansing from the record. So let's proceed. Let's move forward.
Madam Chair,
There's
I am
no
not...
Manifestation
There's
is
no point of
noted.
dilly-dallying the process by going back to the issue that has already been acted by the committee. So that is my point of order.
Madam Chair,
Honorable
point of order
Suntay.
also. I am not questioning that the statement was stricken out. I am asking So that next time, I would be more careful. If it is desire, I will never use desire in this committee. If it is imagination, then I will not use it also. Just for clarity, clarification purposes. Dahil baka yung iba yung gumamit, di ba? Dapat they should be forewarned also. So that's why I'm asking.
To conclude our discussion on the
There was
earlier
a ma-
manifestation of the Honorable Suntay, the Honorable Adjong is correct. The same has been ruled upon, and let us all be reminded, it is the majority that rules in this committee. Let us conclude the discussion on that manifestation.
Madam Chair,
Is this a new matter?
this is going back to what we were discussing earlier, not going to this issue about
Does this not
imagination.
pertain to the manifestation that has been stricken out already
It
from
does
the
not
record?
pertain to it at all, Madam Chair.
The Honorable Po is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just going back to the issue at hand and discussing the substance of the impeachment complaint, I want to ask the sponsor of this measure whether or not the presence or the absence of a high-ranking individual is a statement in and of itself.
Honorable De Lima. The question is whether or not the presence of the high-ranking official in those gatherings is her statement itself.
Well, it's adoptive admission because she did not deny, she did not detach herself from those statements as a high-ranking public official. She knows the impact, the effect, the consequences of statements like that. So her mere presence is concurrence with what has been stated or what has occurred in those rallies. I so submit, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other manifestation from the justice members?
I have a question. Madam
Honorable
Chair.
Po.
Madam Chair, if because it may be argued that it was a coincidence that she attended the first event, and that such statements were made during the event. However, she did attend the second event. Would continually attending events which make similar statements, would it constitute an agreement towards the aforementioned statements?
It would, because it refers to similar statements. So again, not doing anything, not saying anything, after hearing it from the first activity, from the first rally, would be her concurrence with the very essence of those statements. Thank you.
Honorable Po.
Because I would like to point out that if it's whether or not she actually made statements at these rallies, my colleagues are correct. She didn't make any statements verbally. However, if it's a question of whether or not her mere presence and continually attending similar events and not mentioning whether she's for or against what's happening in these events is a statement in and of itself, that's a different argument altogether. So I just want to point out that the context of everything we're discussing and the timeline is also very important in determining whether or not this ground has substance.
Honorable De Lima, would you like to make further comment to that?
No more, Your Honor. I concur with those remarks of that position about the context and the timing. Thank
All
you.
right. If there are no more manifestations coming from the justice members, then this is the conclusion of our deliberation on the sixth ground. Will the endorser be interested to add to her manifestation before we end our deliberation on the third impeachment complaint?
Yes, Madam Chair. Just,
Yes, please.
just
You
a
are
brief
recognized. You may
summation.
proceed.
So at this juncture, having deliberated on all 6 grounds, let us return to the only question that matters at this stage. The only question before this committee is whether this verified complaint recites ultimate facts, which, if hypothetically admitted as true, constitute impeachable offenses under Article 11 of the Constitution. The complaint, under certain grounds, specifies amounts, hundreds of millions in confidential funds. It alleges concrete acts, cash withdrawals, certifications, liquidation reports, audit findings, and disallowances. It cites sworn testimonies and references constitutional duties of accountability, transparency, and fidelity to public trust. It even recounts public admissions of extraordinary gravity. These are not vague accusations, not sweeping conclusions. These are detailed factual allegations supported by annexes, audit findings, certifications, and sworn testimonies were part of the record. These are that can be taken cognizance of and can still be proven later during the evidentiary stage. Section 5 requires only a recital of facts constituting the offense charge. That standard has been met. The question is whether the Constitution allows us to turn away when a verified complaint alleges specific amounts, specific acts, specific certifications, specific audit findings, specific fictitious documents, sworn testimonies, and public admissions that, if true, fall squarely within the grounds of culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, bribery, other high crimes, and betrayal of public trust. If we dismiss such allegations without allowing the constitutional process to proceed, then impeachment becomes meaningless. Ulitin ko lang po, ang impeachment ito nagaganap ngayon ay hindi po ito parusa. Ito ay mekanismo ng pananagutan. To declare this complaint insufficient despite the ultimate facts pleaded would be to raise the threshold beyond what the Constitution and the rules require, and that, with due respect, we cannot do. So I humbly, firmly, and strongly submit that the third complaint, the Reverend Father Sabalia et al. Complaint, is sufficient in substance. Thank you.
That concludes our deliberation on the sufficiency in substance of the third impeachment complaint. For lack of material time, we will be suspending until tomorrow, 10 o'clock in the morning, and tomorrow we will be holding our deliberation on the fourth impeachment complaint, and after that, we will be proceeding to vote on the sufficiency in substance, one after the other, of these two impeachment complaints. Thank you, everyone. The meeting is suspended.